Check. Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 2 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, January 26th. So, looking back at Friday's session, right, the NASDAQ really outperformed where the ES was, uh, getting up about another 100% over the overnight range. Uh, and then filling in, you got a split distribution basically at 25,765, and then goes down from there, up to the high of Friday, and then down below uh, to 714 will be another mini split, and then 683, where the ES just had a perfectly, basically bell curve distribution on Friday. Looking at where we got with everything else, the Russell was very weak, right? It was in the diver down formation, spending most of the day between the -1 and the -2 standard deviation on the VWAP. Uh, the Dow was the second weakest, right? Spending the entire day basically below the VWAP. And then the ES kind of just ranged right inside of Thursday's value area, where the Nasdaq, did get that leap up and then kind of just come back in and crawling on value area high. And then if you look at the high for the day on the Nasdaq, right, it was right at that 1 day expected move high, and it's the only one that reached either the expected high or the low out of the ES. Uh, so looking at where we got with everything else, right, we touched 625 on the Qs. Uh, we got up to this large gamma at 630 basically on the SPX, and 690 on this SPY. Looking at where we are, I don't know what the news was. I wasn't paying attention, but we had a gap down open on the future session last night at 6 p.m. Eastern time when they opened. Right, it opened at 69.04, then it dropped 25 points to 68.79, and then it has rallied up off of that low 73 and a half points. But basically, if you look at it, it's right back into where the value was on Friday, right? That developed there, 69.45 quarters at point of control, and then we have some tested, untested points of control above at 69.86 and 7,010 is what I'm looking at. Uh, Still just kind of coiled up here for the Nasdaq. We'll see if we end up breaching these highs or get up here, but you can see there's uh, a little bit of a split between you could draw it somewhere around 25,000 um, 980 up until 26,000 125 ish. That is your resistance zone. That's been resistance basically since we fell out of bed on November 4th of last year. So as we kind of look at and see where we've got, right, we had that, we talked about that, gap down and then push back up. But if you look at where we're at, right, we're right near value area in the middle of value for the NASDAQ, only 13 points from unchanged. And then if you look at the ES, it's right at value area high already after getting back up above unchanged, then falling back down, retesting Friday's low in the overnight, and then coming up, right. So we're seeing a lot of volatility in the overnight. We'll have to see how that translates into the bell to bell session here. And the same with the Dow. It's already at value very high. Remember, the Dow and the Russell were the weakest links on Friday, with the Russell being the weakest link. But it's sitting here back in value as well. Uh, Looking at positioning, there's not a lot to hang your head on, as I've been saying for quite a while on the cash market, right? The cash market closed at 69.15 on Friday, where futures are up around 9 points right now, so it'd be around 69.25. So they'd be, right around here. So you can see there's large gamma here at 69.30, which is an unusual spot for us to have large gamma for the week. And then that's probably has to do with the FOMC. If we just scroll down a little bit here, uh, and it does not. It's on the Friday expiration, so we're going to be looking at the 69.30 all week. Uh, but you got 69.30s, the pivot point, then 69.50, and then it's just the normal roundies with a little bit of action around the $25 markers. And if you look at the SPY, right, it's always a little bit more concentrated. You can see for the week there's not a lot of concentration on it. You've got some big markers down at 680 and 677. We closed Friday basically at 689. We're currently trading 690. Uh, so, we're right, in here, and you can see for the week, 687 to 691 has fair value right now, and again, we're trading 690. And then for today, you can see 688 to 690 half, 691, right around in there. And then you've got 695 should be your wall above. So that'd be about 50 points higher on the ES than we're currently trading. Should be where that expected wall is. Be you know resistance until proven otherwise. And then there's not really a lot to hang your head on for support because it's kind of spread out as people are well hedged going into this week. I mean, look at the Qs, how well hedged they are. The Qs closed Friday at 622.72. We're currently trading 622.66, so basically unchanged here at 622 half. Uh, you can see there's a lot of hedging at 620, a lot of hedging at 615, a lot of hedging at 610. Uh, and then as we go up from here, fair value is really 622 to 625 for today, and you can see 620. 8 is really your call wall for the day, and then for the week you got a lot of gamma at 625 and 630. So that's kind of like your upper limit range, that 200 point swing right in there. And we'll have to see if we get anything. We'll see if we get that FOMC lift, right? We've got the title of my videos. We got some large cap tech this week and the FOMC on Wednesday. The FOMC is not expected to do anything this week. Maybe jawbone about the future, if you will, but they're supposed to stay pat this week, and then we're going to hear from Meta, Microsoft, and Apple. Right, Meta and Microsoft will be on Wednesday after the FOMC, and then Apple will be Thursday after the bell, and then we'll go from there. But those are your biggest news events for the week. There's no scheduled news for today uh, on the books. We already had the 8:30 print. So just kind of watch these large gamma areas that I've got marked out for you on here, these orange, thick orange lines. They can be magnets. They can be, you can potentially ping pong between these levels. We haven't had a lot of that in the recent past, but that is a normal play when we're in a waiting pattern, right? We're in the middle of wait on those catalysts on Wednesday and Thursday. Today's Monday, right? So we got 2 days of this. So people should be selling uh, the VIX into there. The VIX should not really get a bid under into Wednesday at 2 would be kind of normal. So just keep your eye on that. See if things change to abnormal on that, and we'll go from there. But you guys have a great day. We'll see what Jack's looking at next, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.